Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel Philosmos. My name is Fumani. Thank you for watching my video guys, and please subscribe as well. So today we're actually talking about the law of change, which is actually a continuation of the four laws of existence. Previously I spoke about the law of interconnectedness, and now I'm talking about the law of change. So let's dive straight into it, okay? So when you look at the purview of your reality, access your senses, your five senses, and of course there are more, but those are the basic senses that we have access to. So observe your reality. Look at the trees, look at the plants, look at the sky, look at the clouds, for example. Look at a particular formation of a cloud and actually observe the fact that that particular formation of that cloud will never repeat itself in the whole duration of existence. That particular formation of the cloud is something that is happening now, and it will never ever repeat itself, because life operates on a fundamental law of change. Okay, so if we had to dive deeper into matter, which we have quantum physics to actually assist us in, then you actually notice the fact that, okay, subatomic particles, those tiny pieces of matter, which were all comprised of every single thing in the universe, every single physical system, every celestial body, every star, every organism, literally everything is comprised of these subatomic particles. And thus, if we actually realize and observe the fact that these subatomic particles are in a constant dance, they're in a constant flux, that they're never the same thing, then we realize that things that appear to be static is actually an illusion, and that motion is the only reality. Okay? Motion is the only reality. Everything is in constant flux. Everything is changing. Okay? This whiteboard marker right now, as I observe it, it appears to be static, as I mentioned in my previous video. But when you actually dive deep into it, because our eyes cannot see the true nature of reality, we only see what our brains are allowing us to see through the neural pathways in our brain. We are actually viewing a viewpoint of the brain, but we're not actually seeing reality unto itself. If we could actually see reality unto itself, we'd realize that everything around us is actually in a constant dance, and it's actually changing. And then you can actually ask people that have actually taken substances such as psilocybin, mushrooms, and acid as well. Not that I'm telling you to actually take those kinds of substances, but just ask them in their kind of experience, in the sense that they see that everything is actually changing. There's no such thing as an object actually being static. That motion is actually the only reality. Okay, so now we can superimpose this on circumstances and events in our lives. So anytime that you feel that a circumstance or an event in your life appears to be permanent, it appears to be unchanging, this is all solely based on your perception. What perception does is that it locks your consciousness into a particular viewpoint, and it appears as if this viewpoint has continuity. It appears as if this viewpoint is not changing, and it's constantly perpetuating itself. But in actuality, you are locked into a perception, and that perception is then decoding and allowing you to see reality only in a particular way. But if you could actually get an understanding of your perception, realizing that your perceptions are malleable, they're easily changeable at any given moment, you can shift to a new perception. And understand as well, guys, that there are infinite perceptions that you can actually allow your consciousness to entertain. That when you're locked into one perception, you are allowing yourself to be locked into that perception based on your emotions. Emotions are what lock us into perceptions, not logic, emotions. If you perceive yourself as a person that cannot achieve a certain goal, or you perceive yourself as someone who's incapable of doing certain things, you perceive yourself as unintelligent, or you perceive yourself as incapable of experiencing love, then you're locking yourself into a perception. And what makes that chain much stronger in that lock is your emotion. So one way to detach from a perception is to as well detach your mind from that perception, and that's through meditation. Meditation is something very powerful that I keep reiterating, because it allows you to step back from things that have a hold on you. Okay, so perceptions can actually have a hold on you and force you to view a reality that you can literally, like, okay, so basically it makes you view a reality that is not, in a sense, a reality that you desire, a reality that you really want to experience. So what meditation does is that it detaches you from that, and then it gets you to that 0 point. And 0 point, I mean that you're not occupied by any thoughts, you're not occupied by any perceptions, you are just neutral. And in that neutrality, then you can access infinite perceptions that you can dwell in, and then lock your consciousness onto it based on the emotional charge that's within that perception. So get a hold on your perceptions, and then you'll realize that you can literally change what you're observing in your reality instantaneously. You can have an event or circumstance happen to you, and it appears as if it's a negative circumstance, but you can just alter your perception about it, and that circumstance will change instantaneously if you but hold on to that new perception of it. Because there is the factor of time. If you assume a new perception, reality will appear to be the same, like there is nothing that is actually changing. But when you actually observe the fact that when you hold on to that new perception, you realize that circumstances and events change. They are malleable, they are continuously changing. Thus, if you allow yourself to change, they change effortlessly. Okay, then another thing to understand is the space-time continuum. Okay, I'll just write down space-time. We have this undying belief that yesterday is actually connected to today. So the memories that you hold, there's an emotional charge. Every time that you access your memory, there's an emotional charge to it. And what this does is that it creates an illusion that that memory that you're experiencing is actually part of this moment, and it's you are bringing in that memory into the present time. Okay, and the future as well. You may project your consciousness into the future and then see potential things that may occur, and then you bring that into the moment. So when you truly understand the fact that your memories, your past experiences, are literally possibilities, in the same breath that the future is a possibility, your past is a possibility. You are recreating the past through the present. What you access from the past is from the present moment. So whatever position that you're assuming internally in your mental states and in your feelings will determine what you access out of the past, and will determine what you access from the future. So it is the present moment that is actually creating the past and is actually creating the future. I gave that analogy with this. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. So this is the present, that is the future, and this is the past. Okay, so you can project your consciousness. Okay, let me do it this way. You can project your consciousness into the future, but it always falls back into the present moment. And then you can project your consciousness to the past, but it always falls back into the present moment. The present moment is something that is inescapable. And quite frankly, you can actually utilize the present moment to your advantage, because in the present moment is where change exists. And then when you're continuously fixated in the present moment, then you realize that your life is in continuous flux. It's in a constant dance, and there is nothing that is permanent. Even you yourself as a person, when you observe yourself, your personality, your physical traits even, there's nothing that actually stays the same. So you can even observe this in looking at yourself in different points of views, like a mirror. One mirror will show a different perception, another mirror will show a different perception. So you have no pure understanding as to how you really look like. Why? Because it all depends on the angle to which you observe yourself. And that goes with life as well. Whatever position that you take will determine what you experience. Thus, your position is always changing. There's no idea or belief or actual thing in the sense that your position in existence remains the same. You are continuously altering your position voluntarily and involuntarily. And what that does is that it changes your purview of reality, and changing your purview of reality, you literally are experiencing a whole new different reality. Continuity, okay? So the space-time continuum, yesterday, today, and the future are actually one thing. There's no such thing as one moment being connected to the next moment. Every single frame, every single moment, this moment right now is a whole universe unto itself. So what you can do to actually utilize that to better benefit your life is that don't hold on to the past. That's easier said than done. But what enables you to continuously hold your consciousness back to the past is your continuous entertainment of memories. And memories in actuality are not necessary in your day-to-day existence. Only when it's needed you can retract back to your memory, but there needn't be an emotional charge to it, because when you go back into your memory and you try to access pleasure, you're becoming more sensitive to pleasure. And as Alan Watts said, you cannot, I'm paraphrasing it now, but you cannot be more sensitive to pleasure without coercively being more sensitive to pain. Thus, your memory now will be a source of your pleasure and your greatest pains as well. So get yourself to the point where you're only fixated on the present moment. And the present moment is continuously changing. Thus, you can actually utilize that to your advantage, in the sense that anything that can happen to you, or any new development that you would like to experience in your reality, realize that it's always existing now. Now is the only standpoint, now is the only purview that you should take. And when you actually assume the now, when you actually pay attention to the now with all your focus and all your attention, then life unfolds in your favor and change continuously occurs. And you no longer hold on to things that appear to be permanent. You realize that things are actually changing and there's nothing you can actually do about it. But what you can do about it, in a sense, is altering your perception so that you can use the law of life, because change can actually be a negative experience or a positive experience. There can be changes that occur that don't actually benefit your life, and there can be changes that actually can benefit your life. So when you experience something that appears to be a change that is of a negative field, then realize that you need to alter your perception and step into a new perception that can now enable that change to actually be a positive change, because it all operates on the whole yin and yang principle. With every darkness, there is a tad bit of light, and with every light, there is a tad bit of darkness. So whatever experience that comes to you, realize that it is neutral. It is neutral. Now, whatever perception that you assume will then enable that circumstance to unfold based on how you are perceiving it. Because the law of life is change, and you are at the foreground and you are at the leading edge of actually changing things that actually can benefit you, and you can change things in a way that you don't take your cue from life. Life takes its cue from you. So you determine the changes that occur in your life. And of course, sometimes life will throw you things and give you experiences that appear to be unchanging. But understand, on the basis, on the fundamental level, everything is subject to change. Thus, if everything is subject to change, you can alter any circumstance at any given moment. Okay, so thank you guys for listening to the law of change. The third law of existence is actually the law of infinity, which I'll do a video on that. And please like, guys, please subscribe, please share my videos. And to end it off, as I always end it off, for those who seek no more, for in the present we find it all. Thank you very much, guys.